guys, welcome back to JR14. Here we are with the first of the installation videos, as you guys have all been waiting for. You guys seen the unboxing of the L450 Litco turbo kit for the Mark 7 GTI. Shout out to the little turbo company out in the UK. Dan, you are amazing. We're actually starting the installation now. We took a lot of parts off already, so this way, you know, I just wanted to get you guys started on the up film. Like I said, it's not gonna be a full DIY, but you're gonna get some shots of some stuff here and there of the turbo coming out and a new one coming in. We are switching the IS-20 actuator from the IS-20 to the Litco. It'll work fine. Already has its own wastegate system. That's the only thing that we're bringing over. We'll also bring it over the diverter valve from the old turbo to the new turbo as well. It'll run all the same, and then obviously we have the new tune that we're going to be putting on as a base mat so I can get this car home safely. So without further ado, let's go check the installation stuff out.
No heat gun.
Tell us what we did so far, if you don't mind. I'm serious, like we're just doing like a small little, oh god. You guys don't want to see that. Might as well, since we're taking off all this stuff, this felt a little loose real quick. Okay, that's just my head acting stupid. So we took off ignition, everything ignition, the intake box. We decided, since we took the coolant bottle out, one of the things I wanted to upgrade was the BFI stage 1 mount, so that was literally 15 minutes. 30 minutes to get everything off to get to it, 15 minutes to actually put it on the car. And then there's the little baby one right there. That's the old IS-20. And so, Devin, really quickly, what else do we... do you mind being on camera?
No, I don't care.
Okay, cool. What else? So far we've done all this. What else do we have to do in regards of disassembling? Yeah.
There's still like coolant and oil lines on the turbo we got to get off.
Okay.
Your downpipe, obviously, you know, still on there.
Yeah.
I already took off the intercooler pipe and the inlet. So those are already off, ready to go.
Looks like I have to upgrade those later on for boost pipes.
Yeah, plastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it'll hold extra boost. I mean, it held so far. No boost leaks. Yay. Okay.
Yeah, she's pretty close to coming off. Yeah.
Damn, that's actually pretty decently quick. Okay, so, I mean, would you say that mainly the hardest part is the disassembly of the stuff off the turbo, or actually taking out, like, angling the turbo to get it off itself?
Probably finagling it out of there.
Okay.
And then, you know, some of the coolant lines get dripped on. It's pretty annoying. It was more than I expected.
Oh, it's really... Aren't you glad you weren't standing right there?
But yeah, okay. So he's already got the clamp off on the downpipe. And then I guess the easiest way to do this would probably be drop the subframe. But the reason why we're dropping the subframe is, like I told you guys, that we're going to be doing H&R front sway bar. So to make his life a little easier, we'll drop the subframe, and as he's doing that, you'll see the installation of the H&R. Come on, focus with my hand. Thank you. We'll actually do the H&R sway bar while he's picking the turbo out, and then by the time he's ready to put the sway, the subframe. Thank you. Once you get the subframe back in the car, the sway bar should be in, and the subframe can go back in, and then we'll kill two birds with one stone.
Hell yeah.
So I'm helping out as much as I can. So, you know, I'm trying to do good work here.
Brian right here.
Hey,
Big Wayne thing. This is lovely girlfriend. You know, if you ever want to see an all-track almost flip with stock suspension, have him drive it. I was so scared for you, bro, in the rocket seat. I was like, this guy's gonna flip this car.
I did a full donut around it for no reason. Other than that, he said do it.
He's like, I'll do it. I'm like, you won't do it. He's like, no, you don't understand. You don't know me. I will fucking take her car and do it. I'm like, it's not your car. He's like, so?
I'm like, go do it.
I'm like, no, don't tell him to do it.
Go do it.
I'm like, so if he flips your car, how would you feel?
We're gonna take it to Devin. Devin gonna fix it.
The shop that they'll probably make another video out of it.
No, actually, that'd be funny. We should challenge theirs on track, but they're going off road. So.
They're doing track. That's one of their setups.
Oh. All right, so this is a challenge out to the with Paul from DAP. When your all track's done, you can come take her on, and we can see what happens with it, because that thing's gonna be fast, and I'd love to see what y'all do. Winner gets to challenge me in the GTI.
Fun.
I didn't mean to do that, Paul.
The next clip that you're gonna see is probably the car in the air, and then we're gonna get everything else situated. So, you ready?
Yeah, dude.
Awesome. Let's take more of her apart. She hates this, by the way. She's making all weird noises and stuff. But all right, let's get to it. All right, so the next part of this turbo install, as you can see, Devin is actually taking apart the subframe. Now, he did it in a pretty cool way. So he just has a rolling table, and he puts the lift down on the table not to where it's going to crush the table, but to the point where when he bolts the subframe, it just lays on the table, and then when he lifts the car back up, subframe's out. Now the cool thing is, when I do the H&R review or the H&R sway bar, I have it on a freaking table, and I don't have to do it on the ground. This is awesome. So wait, right? I could do it on the table. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, so you can do it on the table. Perfect. So I know there's not that much light, but as you can see, that's the car, that's the subframe. What he did was he unbolted a bolt from the steering rack inside the car, and then he was able to disassemble the complete subframe with the steering rack attached to it at the top. Now when you're doing this, anytime you're dropping the subframe or messing with suspensions in any way, we're going to be doing suspension as well, but even for this turbo install, it's a lot easier when you do it with the you could do it without the subframe off, but to do it with the subframe in, with the subframe out, it's a lot easier for him. So the cool thing about this is that now, like I said, he has a lot of room to play with. But yeah, so this is another step of that process of doing that. Then the next thing he's gonna do is to take that downpipe off. Now I'm not gonna film that because you guys have seen me and Calvin take this downpipe off at least 3 or 4 times already. So it's the same process there. So yeah, we're gonna get underway, and he's dressing up the car now, and I'm gonna get out of his way. So yeah. So got the car up, subframe's completely out. This is another part of the turbo install, and there's the little guy right there. Okay, I'm about to say, did that say IS-12 on it? I was like, what? But it says IS-20 here. Okay, so that's definitely an IS-20. Here's the actuator. Like I said, we're going to be swapping this over to the new one. Pretty loose there. Okay. So who knows? We could actually probably tighten that on the new one. I mean, well, the new one would be tight.
Is Calvin still sleeping?
Yeah, Calvin's definitely sleeping right now. Just the actuator over to the new one, and this is, yeah, so I mean, you can really see not much, but you can see how he still has to kind of finagle it out. There's the exhaust manifold. Zoom, not zoom, but focus. Oh, we're in there. Oh, we're in there. Perfect. Right here. So that's where it unbolts from the manifold. Now the good thing is Devin thinks that we're just going to put a new one in without changing all the hardware. I got new hardware for you, new gaskets and everything, because I heard that all that is necessary to do all this to make sure everything's sealed properly. And hopefully we don't crack the block. That's what I'm really praying that we don't do. But it looks pretty relatively clean under here for 70-something thousand miles. That's pretty good. Well, most of the parts are made out of aluminum anyway, so it's really a lot of less surface rust. But I'm rambling, so Devin's going to continue getting to work on this. I'm going to let Devin go ahead and continue with this turbo install. Like I said, I would want to do this myself, but I don't want to do this myself just because I wouldn't recommend you do this alone. This is, or try it for the first time. This is something that I'm learning what he's taking off, but I probably will never do this myself. And then we also have a shifter bracket for you too with the bushings. So we're going to change that to get some better shift feel. But yeah, so I'm going to let him get back to it. And how's the car though? Does it look terrible under here?
Other than your water pump, you know.
Yeah, so apparently I need a water pump, which is a common issue for Volkswagen. So maybe I can get that covered under my extended warranty program, because water pump has to do with the powertrain, and that might be able to be that might be covered. So everything else looks good though. Gaskets, head gasket, everything looks pretty dry under here. Don't mind the wet stuff here. That's all coolant that just fell from the reservoir down. But for the most part, looks relatively clean under here. And you can see the top of the hood, and the turbo's going to come off, and we're all going to be Gucci. So yeah. Oh, so Devin just delivered a baby, and here is the old
They be going out like that all the time?
Oh my god. All right. So this is your IS-20. We never changed the turbo muffler delete on there, which is stupid.
Fins look good too.
Fins look good. 78,000 miles, 28 pounds of boost, driven every day hard. That's the hot sauce, so you know it's burnt. And this is probably corrosive residue from the unburnt fuel when the pops and bangs. So that's the rattle I hear in the car.
100 boost codes when it sticks over.
Damn.
Huh?
Okay.
How's it
So,
look?
wastegate's a little loose.
Was that bad?
No shaft play. Like none. Like, that's crazy. I can't show you guys this. This is a baby turbo, so I can't like stick my hand in there and show you it moving, but it's not moving at all, which is great. Actually pretty solid.
You said you wanted cheeseburger. I thought that was my heart.
I've watched her pass up food, but no back and forth either.
Okay, so people who had bad IS-38s, IS-20s, I apparently had an okay one. So, oh yeah, so the wastegate does have a little bit of play. Oh wow, that's, wow. Jingle bells. Oh man. All right, so there you go. Really quickly, can you take out the old turbo? Take out the old turbo out the box, please. The new turbo out the box, please. He slept man long. Man long.
Stop talking about me.
All right, so here's we're gonna show the difference real quick. This is an exciting moment. I'm very happy right now. All right, these are the belly pan screws right here. Oh, that's a huge difference. Latte. Yeah, that's a difference. All right. So as you can see, they're kind of similar, but as you can see, the IS-38 here is just a little bit bigger. The housing's a little bit bigger, but the real difference is in, oh God, Jesus, is in that fin. So if you see that fin right there, all right. So just to give you a perspective, we have a little bit of play on the wastegate here. Oh, yeah, it's, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, 78,000 miles with boost. I mean, I'm glad that's all it was. So versus this guy with the fins with this.
Oh, so you guys are switching or swapping the wastegates.
So there you go. So, so, yeah, and then obviously, I'll show you the difference with the fins up here. You have a flashlight? You have that flashlight on here? For the Litco L450 kit. And much bigger turbine than a stock IS-20 right here. So if you see that, perfect. So that's the stock IS-20 right there. No fin down. I'm very happy. Like there's really no shaft play in this at all. So there you go. Well, I mean, it was the wastegate. I mean, I can honestly tell you that. I mean, so this is gonna be sold to him, and I can let you know now. I mean, I still made full power. He can tell you.
That's pretty slow.
Shut up.
I ain't trying to ever use it.
So he's gonna use it just as a backup so that he can just go semi-send.
Full send, actually.
Full send. He doesn't do anything less. So, oh man. So, again, shout out to Litco. I'm not gonna talk too much in this because of the fact that we are wasting time. We need to get this in the car. But also, I want to give a special thanks to ShopDap. ShopDap offers a hardware kit that includes the exhaust gasket, all the little rubber grommets and everything that is going to go in its place. So we're going to have new grommets, new things, and he also labeled the part numbers of where they go on the new turbo. So we're going to have that as well. And also I'm going to put a turbo muffler delete on the end of this, supplied by MST. We're not putting this guy back on. So yeah, this is going to be...
Shop that.
So this is definitely going to be dope. And we're going to get cracking. So now the hard stuff is done and the easy stuff is to come. So now the only thing that we have...
Wait, this is all bearing, right? 2 fins? Big power.
So...
Way bigger than mine. Way bigger.
So the only thing that we're going to be switching over is the actuator, which is this piece right here. This is going to be swapped over to this. And the diverter valve, which is over here. That's the only two things that we're going to be swapping over. Everything else is going to Brian. He's going to take it on her. And then, you know, she's trying to find car parts right now for her. And it should be fun. So let's go ahead and get more stuff done on the car. So here we are. Finally here we are. A month later after installing the Litco L450 turbo kit on Project Mark 7. Now, why am I not in the car talking to you about the process of how powerful it is and how responsive the turbo is? Because right now, the tune is not done yet. And that's quite all right. We're actually going through the process of data logging as we speak. So, shout out to Rick from Unicorn Motor Developments for actually providing
the services of tuning the vehicle. I wanted to talk to you guys about that as well in regards of why I went with the tune and what currently is going on. I decided to go with Rick for a couple reasons. The major factor of Rick is for the fact that he's very knowledgeable about the MQB platform and the Litco turbo and how these cars respond to a Litco turbo built into them. Bolted onto them. And that's something that I wanted. I wanted something. Dan, who works for the Litco, who owns the turbo company, the little turbo company, or Litco, and Dan, who actually works alongside in the same country with him, who's very knowledgeable about the platform and also about the turbo kit going onto the platform. A lot of people are asking me, and have asked me already, well, great, like, okay, well, you got a new tuner. How come you didn't stick with 5150? Is John incapable of, you know, tuning the Litco turbo on the car? It's not that he's not capable, it's that he's not, I wouldn't say that he's not capable of doing it. I'm sure that he is, but he's more in line of tuning a conventional IS-30 and a conventional IS-20 to work with those platforms. I actually had a conversation with John about that, and you know, he said he's done it once or twice with this turbo kit. The only other thing with John for 5150 is that he's extremely busy. I kind of want to have a relationship with my tuner where I could talk about, hey, if we need to pull back timing, great, that's awesome. If we need to dial in some timing, why? Why do we have to cut boost down? What's going on with the car? Every step so far, I'm still currently in a revision process with this new tune, and Rick has been very, very transparent throughout the entire process. What this tune's gonna do, how's it gonna enable everything, how's it gonna enable power, how's it gonna perform, is it gonna cause a little lag? And stuff of that nature. And it's just been a smooth process along with that round with Rick on that. Right now I know that this tune has a little bit of timing added to it and a little bit of more boost in, and it's supposed to put around 1.8 bar. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if you do know the metrics converted to metrics as far as PSI, I believe that's around 1.8 bars, roughly around 23.5, 24 pounds, around that. Currently that's where we're at 1.8 bar. The last thing that he told me before I went off to European experience is that the car's running very, very well with this tune, and he pulled in a little timing and added a little bit more boost to the mix and really started to get into the power. Now, which I can definitely say is much more significant than IS-20. An IS-20, you could tell at where I was pushing around 28, 29 pounds peak boost, he was really putting the turbo to its limit. And actually, I actually took out the IS-20 and realized that there was very, very minimal shaft play. There was a slight bit of shaft play, but it wasn't bad to where you couldn't run the turbo again. The IS-20 I still have. However, I don't know if I'm going to sell it to somebody because it does have a cracked turbo housing on the hot side. That's very easy to do, and that was actually caused by the pops and bangs. Another thing that Rick told me, I asked him, he gave me pops and bangs on this file. So sport mode, pop, 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 put it back in normal, doesn't do it. What I noticed is that, let's say if I'm doing a pull, first, second, third gear, it would make the pop sounds in between shifts, but right where I get around third or fourth gear, that shift, it wouldn't do anything. So I was curious as far as why it wouldn't do anything and why I wouldn't hear the pops and bangs while I'm in sport mode. Rick didn't, and I didn't notice from 5150, but Rick actually told me that the reason why I do that is because of the fact that the ECU monitors the exhaust temperature. Once it gets to a certain hotness and temperature, it turns the pops and bangs off to cause damage on the hot side of the turbo, to the exhaust system. Most of the time, most of these people who have a downpipe are running a high flow cat. It's also to protect the cat from clogging and damaging the cat prematurely. So I didn't know that. 5150, that was never shut off. That after a certain amount of temperature, that's why I was shooting flames out of the exhaust. The exhaust was so hot at that point. When you're in third gear at like 80 or 90 miles an hour, and you shift into fourth and you're continuing accelerating, and on top of that you have pops and bangs, which pretty much dumps fuel during when you're letting off the accelerator, even if it's for a split section to shift. At that point, the exhaust is so hot that all it's going to do is shoot fire out the exhaust. Now that's great, but I didn't know it was going to cause damage to the turbo. So there was a fine hair crack on, it's a fine hair, it's 80 bucks to replace the hot unit. If you want to buy the unit, just hit me my DMs, JR14YT. If you do want it, I'm just letting you know the disclaimer, it does have a cracked side turbo. I didn't know this until I took the turbo off. It still made boost fine, it still made pressure fine. There was no issues on it, and it's on the hot side, it's on the exhaust side. Now I want to give a special shout out to the Hood, He's Hood Racing Movement. Brian was definitely able to help me out with this build in regards of the suspension, which is videos you're going to see later on. Was it all fine and dandy? I want to talk about actuators, because that was where my issue was, and I'm not going to have this type of channel and not tell you guys the drawbacks of it. So nothing wrong with the Litco turbo at all. Easy install, literally bolt on, bolt off. It's an IS38 housing, so fitment was not an issue. The issue came into play was when I switched my IS20 actuator. For some reason, I had two Volkswagen Master Techs look at it. Don't know how it happened or what happened, but pretty much what ended up happening was the actuator got damaged. Now, I don't know if that was because of the first person that put it on the turbo or swapped it over, or the second guy, but where there's a rod that connects to, there's a rod that has a nut to it, and it connects to the wastegate door. And what was happening was the threads were messed up. Maybe someone put a pair of vice grips on it. I don't know. I never put vice grips on it because the only thing I touched down there was the downpipe, and you don't even have to go near the actuator to take off the downpipe. Once I figured out that was damaged, I was going back and forth, going to one person, then going to the second person, paying money to, obviously I'm not going to not give them labor work. They're underneath the car doing the work. And unfortunately, what ended up happening was I needed a new actuator. The rod was damaged, and shout out to this is where TCR Performance comes into play, because they discovered the issue of what happened, and they were able to replace it with a new one. Now the one that they had a little bit less miles. It was a used component, so they did sell me a used component, but it works absolutely perfect. Now, if you are doing the turbo install yourself like we did here on the Project Mark 7, please do note, when you swap over your IS20, you do need to adjust the settings on it, meaning you have to adjust the actuator door. Now, you need to adjust the actuator around 2.66 volts, which was recommended by TCR Performance. Shout out to Josh and Lexi out at TCR Performance in New Jersey, because they were able to resolve this for me. Once we swapped that actuator over, he was able to give me a new one, and he was able to adjust it perfectly. Went into VDCS, 2.66 volts, run basic settings, and the actuator door was able to open and fully close. So that was pretty cool. After that was rectified, it was pretty much smooth sailing from there. Now, if you don't adjust your actuator correctly, some of the things that you're going to run into are EPC light coming on. You'll get a check engine light for overboost or underboost, and the car will just be stupid. The car will just go into limp mode. So literally, you put your foot to the floor, and the car won't go anywhere. But currently, right now, what we're doing, we're currently in the revision state. So at this point, we're currently going back and forth with the e-files of the tunes, and that's where we are. So the next video, well, not the next video, but later on in the video series, you're going to see reaction videos of the new turbo. You're going to see a bunch of different things with the turbo running at its full potential, and my take on it, because I still don't know how this car fully performs yet due to the fact that we're not done with the tunes yet. So that's pretty much it. So that's all the updates I wanted to give you now after that turbo install. I'm sorry that I'm rambling. I'm sorry the video was long, but it was well overdue, and I know that you guys wanted to see this video. But what I want you guys to do is to go ahead to like, share, and subscribe to JR14, and always remember that cars are a lifestyle. Take care.